Melissa, this is not a soft chart. This is not a chart where life allows you to sit comfortably in the background and just figure yourself out privately. This is a chart where your identity is dragged into public karma, your emotions are pulled into creativity, your relationships become mirrors, and your career becomes the place where your entire life either organizes itself or collapses into confusion. The diagnostic engine here is house lordship, not generic planet talk, not vague personality fluff. We are looking at where the lords of the houses have gone, what area of life they are carrying, and where that karma is playing out. And the first thing that hits hard is this. Your first lord and 10th lord, Jupiter, sits in the 10th house. That is massive. The lord of your body, identity, personality, and life direction has gone straight into career, public status, action, authority, visibility, and contribution. You are not built to live invisibly. You may try. You may withdraw. You may feel detached. You may even feel like you do not fully belong to the identity people see. But life keeps pushing you into responsibility, work, guidance, leadership, public contribution, and meaningful action. This means your personality is not formed in isolation. You become yourself through your work. You discover yourself through responsibility. You understand your own worth when you are doing something useful, respected, visible, and meaningful. If your career is weak, your identity suffers. If your public role is confused, your confidence gets disturbed. If you are not acting on your dharma, the entire chart begins to feel heavy. And why does it feel heavy? Because Saturn and Ketu sit in the first house. This is the raw truth. You carry an old soul signature, but not in a romantic, Instagram spiritual way. This is the kind of old soul that feels tired before life even explains why. Saturn in the first makes you serious, cautious, burdened, responsible, and self-monitoring. It gives endurance, but it also gives heaviness. It can make you feel like life expects maturity from you before you are emotionally ready. Ketu in the first adds detachment. It cuts ordinary ego satisfaction. So even when people see you functioning, working, talking, relating, performing, there is a part of you that feels separate from the whole scene. You can appear present, but internally feel distant. You can be capable, but privately exhausted. You can be visible, but still feel unseen. That is the paradox of this chart. Jupiter in the 10th says stand up, contribute, guide, lead. Saturn and Ketu in the first say withdraw, detach, carry the burden quietly. So your life becomes a constant negotiation between public duty and private disappearance. Now look at the second Lord Mars going into the 5th house. The second house is speech, family, wealth, values, food, memory, and accumulated resources. When its Lord goes into the 5th, your values get tied to creativity, intelligence, children, romance, education, performance, and recognition. Money does not come only through routine effort. It comes through talent, guidance, teaching, creative thinking, emotional intelligence, advisory ability, and the courage to express what you know. But Mars is not gentle. Mars in the 5th gives passionate intelligence. You do not merely think, you react, defend, protect, and fight for what matters. Your speech can be powerful, direct, emotionally charged, and sometimes sharper than you intend. When you are emotionally steady, your words can protect, inspire, and motivate. When you are disturbed, your words can burn bridges. This is especially important because Mars sits in Cancer. Mars in Cancer does not fight only from logic. It fights from memory. It fights from hurt. It fights from emotional protection. So when your family, your values, your children, your creative work, or your emotional dignity feels threatened, you may not respond calmly. You may respond from the wound. The consequence? If you do not regulate your emotional fire, the same placement that gives you creative courage can create romantic impulsiveness, family conflict, emotional speech, or poor decisions made during mood swings. Now the major signature. The 3rd Lord Venus is in the 5th, and the 5th Lord Moon is in the 3rd. This is an exchange between the 3rd and 5th houses. This is one of the core engines of Melissa's personality. The 3rd house is communication, courage, effort, writing, skills, hands, siblings, short travel, media, self-made ability, and daily repetition. The 5th house is intelligence, creativity, romance, children, emotional genius, speculation, mantra, performance, and past life merit. When these two lords exchange, communication and creativity become inseparable. You are not meant to keep your intelligence locked inside. You are meant to express it, write it, speak it, Teach it, design it, perform it, counsel with it, create with it. Turn emotional experience into insight, turn memory into language, turn pain into art, turn observation into guidance. This is a strong storyteller's exchange, a creative communicator's exchange, a person who can convert personal experience into something others can feel. But this exchange has a shadow. Your mind can become emotionally hooked into validation. Your creativity may depend too much on mood. Your communication may become reactive. Your romantic life can affect your productivity. Sibling dynamics, peer dynamics, comparison, approval, or being heard can deeply influence your confidence. Moon in the third in Rohini gives magnetic communication. It gives charm, memory, sensuality, attachment to beauty, voice, food, comfort, family, history, and emotional expression. You may speak in a way that carries feeling. People may remember your tone, your words, your emotional presence, but Rohini also wants appreciation. It wants to feel chosen, valued, admired, and emotionally fed. So the danger is attachment, attachment to praise, attachment to comfort, attachment to creative recognition, attachment to people who mirror your beauty back to you. Venus in the fifth in Pushya adds nurturing creativity. There is love for emotional bonding, music, beauty, children, devotion, hosting, food, family warmth, artistic refinement, and relational intelligence. But Venus also rules the eighth house here. So love is not simple. Pleasure is not simple. Romance is not simple. Creative desire becomes transformative. The eighth lord in the fifth can make love, children, creativity, and emotional attachments into initiation grounds. This means your romantic life is not just romance. It is karmic exposure. It brings out hidden fears. It exposes dependency. It shows where you crave emotional safety. It reveals where desire has power over your judgment. And with Mars and Venus together in the fifth, the heart is not calm. It is passionate. It is fertile. It is dramatic. It is creative. It is hungry. It wants beauty, protection, emotional intensity, and response. This can make you deeply artistic, affectionate, magnetic, and emotionally expressive. But it can also bring love drama, creative instability, impulsive attraction, or conflict between affection and anger. You need to hear this directly. Your creative life is a gift, but your attachment patterns need discipline. If desire drives the chart, you suffer. If disciplined expression drives the chart, you become powerful. Now the fourth Lord Mercury goes into the seventh house, and the seventh Lord Mercury also sits in the seventh. This makes partnership a major psychological battlefield. The fourth house is inner peace, home, emotional security, mother, property, education, and private happiness. Its Lord going to the seventh means your emotional peace is tied to relationships, clients, public dealings, contracts, marriage, and one-to-one exchanges. You do not handle relational ambiguity well. When partnership is unclear, your nervous system feels it. When someone is inconsistent, your home peace is disturbed. When a contract is vague, your mind starts looping. When a partner says one thing and does another, your internal security begins to shake. Mercury in Virgo is sharp, analytical, intelligent, practical, technical, detail-oriented. It gives capacity for consulting, communication, business, negotiation, documentation, counseling, systems, trade, writing, strategy, and client-facing work. But Mercury is retrograde, and Rahu sits with it. That changes the game. Mercury retrograde with Rahu in the seventh can create a brilliant relationship mind, but also a restless one. You analyze people, you decode patterns, you replay conversations, you notice inconsistencies. You may attract intelligent but complicated people. Foreign, unusual, unconventional, mentally stimulating, or karmically confusing partners can come into your life. This placement can make you excellent in client work, advisory roles, communications, business strategy, technical interpretation, media, research, counseling, or negotiation. But personally, it can make relationships feel like a hall of mirrors. You must not confuse mental stimulation with emotional safety. You must not confuse chemistry with compatibility. You must not confuse someone's intelligence with their integrity. Rahu in the seventh can glamorize people. Mercury can rationalize the red flags. Retrograde Mercury can keep revisiting the same issue again and again. So the rule is simple: clean communication, written agreements, transparent expectations, and grounded partners. Without that, your seventh house becomes a karmic laboratory of anxiety. Now the sixth Lord Sun sits in the sixth house in Leo. This is strong. This gives the ability to face enemies, competition, disease patterns, debt, disputes, service, routines, and work pressure. You are not weak in conflict. You may not enjoy conflict, but you can handle it. When pushed, you can become authoritative, proud, commanding, and very clear about who is right and who is wrong. Sun in the sixth gives problem-solving authority. It gives the ability to defeat opposition, but it also brings ego into conflict zones. Workplace politics, power struggles, issues with subordinates, criticism, pride, or clashes with authority can appear. You may feel disrespected when others do not recognize your effort. You may become overly critical when systems are inefficient. This placement says you win through discipline, not ego, through service, not superiority, through routine, not drama, through correction, not domination. And because the sun is in a pleasure-oriented creative nakshatra, there can be a conflict between wanting ease and being forced into duty. Part of you wants comfort, beauty, relaxation, pleasure, celebration. Another part of life says no. First fix the problem. First serve. First correct. First prove yourself. The consequence of ignoring the sixth house? Health pressure, work stress, conflict cycles, and ego battles. The blessing of using it correctly? You become a person who can solve hard problems and defeat opposition with dignity. Now, the eighth Lord Venus in the fifth gives a deep occult, psychological, and transformational current to your intelligence. You may be drawn to hidden subjects, emotional psychology, secrets of relationships, intimacy, healing, sexuality, spiritual transformation, or the unseen mechanics of human behavior. Your creativity may come after crisis. Your wisdom and love may come after disappointment. Your emotional intelligence may be born from situations that forced you to see what people hide. This is not a superficial love chart. It is a chart where love transforms you. Desire initiates you. Children, creativity, romance, and emotional expression become portals into deeper karmic material. The ninth Lord Mars in the fifth adds dharma to creativity. This is powerful. Your fortune grows when you teach, create, guide, protect, educate, mentor, perform, or act courageously from the heart. You may reconnect with faith after setbacks. You may restart studies, return to spiritual practices, revisit old teachers, or rediscover belief after emotional exhaustion. Your luck is not passive. It opens when you act with emotional courage. Now return to the 10th house. Jupiter in Sagittarius in the 10th is the stabilizer, the crown, the main pillar. This is the chart's saving grace. The first Lord and 10th Lord in the 10th means public karma is central. Jupiter in its own sign brings wisdom, ethics, guidance, education, philosophy, teaching, law, institutions, advisory roles, counseling, leadership, and respected judgment. This placement can make others look to you for perspective. It can make your work meaningful. It can give status through knowledge. It can create a career based on trust, wisdom, consulting, teaching, management, or moral authority. But Jupiter in the 10th demands integrity. You cannot fake your way through this placement. If your work lacks meaning, you feel empty. If your public role lacks ethics, the chart rebels. If you shrink from your calling, Saturn Ketu in the first becomes heavier, and the emotional houses become louder. Your career is medicine for the chart. Work is not just work for you. Right work organizes your identity. Right work stabilizes your mind. Right work gives meaning to your suffering. Right work gives a container to your emotional intensity. Now the 11th and 12th lords, Saturn, sit in the first house. Gains and losses both come into the body and personality. Networks, ambitions, income, elder siblings, social circles, expenses, isolation, foreign links, spiritual release, and hidden burdens all impact your identity directly. As 11th lord in the first, Saturn says gains come through discipline, maturity, and persistence. Not quick popularity, not easy networks, not superficial social circles. Your gains come late but solid. Through credibility, through endurance, through taking responsibility, through becoming someone people trust over time. As 12th lord in the first, Saturn says you carry invisible burdens. You need solitude. You need sleep discipline. You need spiritual grounding. You need to protect your energy. You may feel drained by too much social exposure. You may periodically disappear, withdraw, or feel tired of worldly noise. With Ketu in the first, this becomes even more detached. You may want achievement, but not the noise around achievement. You may want connection, but not emotional invasion. You may want love, but not dependency. You may want recognition, but not performance politics. This chart is not asking you to become cold. It is asking you to become clean. Clean in relationships, clean in speech, clean in work, clean in desire, clean in emotional boundaries. The dominant areas needing attention are very clear. First, relationships. Mercury Rahu in the seventh can bring powerful partnerships, but also confusion, obsession, overthinking, and karmic repetition. You need transparent people. No vague promises, no half-truths, no intellectual seduction without emotional accountability. Second, emotional attachment. Moon-Venus exchange gives creative brilliance, but also attachment to validation, comfort, affection, and response. You must create whether you are praised or not. You must speak truth whether you are emotionally fed or not. Third, career direction. Jupiter in the 10th is too strong to ignore. You need meaningful work, not just survival work. You need contribution, not just employment. You need a role where your judgment, ethics, knowledge, and guidance matter. Fourth, self-burden. Saturn Ketu in the first can make you carry too much alone. You may normalize heaviness. You may think exhaustion is maturity. It is not. Discipline is necessary, but chronic isolation is not wisdom. Fifth, desire and romance. Mars-Venus in the fifth can create passion, creativity, attraction, and artistic power, but also emotional drama if not governed. Love must not become your battlefield. Creativity must not depend on emotional chaos. The final truth of this chart is simple. Melissa is not here to live small, hide in emotional loops, or lose herself inside complicated relationships. This is a chart of a serious, creative, spiritually detached, publicly destined person. A person who can guide, teach, write, advise, manage, create, heal, and influence, but only after learning emotional discipline. The lower version of this chart becomes isolated, overthinking, relationship drained, creatively inconsistent, and privately exhausted while still appearing capable. The higher version becomes wise, respected, emotionally refined, creatively powerful, and publicly meaningful. And that is the choice. Do you let the seventh house confusion run your life? Do you let the fifth house desire dictate your decisions? Do you let Saturn Ketu convince you to disappear? Or do you let Jupiter in the 10th take command and turn your life into contribution? Because this chart does not reward emotional passivity. It rewards disciplined expression. When Melissa stops chasing reassurance and starts building from wisdom, the chart opens. When she stops over-explaining herself to complicated people and starts honoring her public calling, the chart strengthens. When she uses her voice, creativity, intelligence, and lived experience as tools of guidance, she becomes extremely powerful. This is not a chart of weakness. This is a chart of delayed authority, emotional initiation, creative karma, and public purpose. And if you want a reading that goes this deep into your own chart, not generic predictions, not surface-level planet talk, but a raw functional diagnosis of where your life is actually playing out through house lords, exchanges, placements, and karmic pressure points, get in touch with me for a personal reading. Because once you understand the engine of your chart, you stop fighting your life blindly and start working with the exact architecture of your destiny.